Robin, it's been 3 years since we last spoke. It's your older sister here. I bet you've been feeling down ever since I stole your husband, right? But cheer up. I've got some good news for you, so don't hesitate to keep reading this message. Hello? Goodbye. Hey, I said I've got good news. Listen to me. I'm getting married to a rich boyfriend, so I'll be returning your ex-husband to you. He said he's ready to remarry you, so take him back with open arms, okay? What kind of misunderstanding are we dealing with this time? Huh? What misunderstanding? What part of what I said is a misunderstanding? I'm just letting you know I don't need your ex-husband anymore, so I'm giving him back to you. Ex-husband? I never got divorced in the first place. Wait, what? I got married 4 years ago, and my husband and I haven't had any major arguments. We're getting along well, and we even have a 2-year-old child now. What? You're the one who's got things all wrong. Your ex-husband fell in love with me, and we ran away together. That's why he's been living with me for the past 3 years. There's no way I could be mistaken about that. It's the undeniable truth. Well, it's true that you've been living with someone you believe to be my ex-husband. That much is a fact. Right? But here's the thing. The man you think is my ex-husband isn't my husband at all. He's someone completely different. Wait, what? 3 years ago, when you sent me that weird message saying, I'm taking your husband, and then disappeared, my husband and I were actually on a vacation at a resort. To get more specific, at the exact moment your message came through, my husband and I were strolling hand in hand through a beautiful resort town. What? Ever since then, my husband and I have been living together as usual with no problems in our marriage. So the man you think is my husband has to be someone else entirely. What the heck? Well, if that's the case, you should have contacted me right away. The fact that you didn't means you're lying to cover up the pain of having your husband stolen from you. Didn't you have me blocked until just recently? Of course I did send a message to correct you, but it was never marked as read. What? You're kidding, right? Robin! Hey, what the hell is going on here? Why on earth am I getting served with a demand for compensation? You better explain this to me right now. Why are you even calling me about this? Because you said I didn't actually steal your husband, right? There's no reason for me to be hit with a compensation claim if that's the case. By the sound of it, I'm guessing you received a certified letter, right? So you do know something about this. I'm not directly involved. I've only heard some of the details, that's all. Well, then explain it to me. You know the name of the person filing the claim, don't you? You should have seen it on the letter. Huh? I take it you didn't even bother to carefully check the details before deciding this was my doing and coming after me. The name listed here, it says Miriam? That's right, it's our cousin, Miriam. What? Why would Miriam? She's the one who used to call me big sister and looked up to me so much. Why would she be the one filing a claim for compensation against me? You seriously can't figure it out? What the hell is this? What's going on? If you read through the document carefully, it's all explained there, but fine, I'll make it clear for you. The Mark you ran off with, the one you had an affair with, is actually Miriam's ex-husband. What? Miriam said the statute of limitations for filing a claim for compensation hasn't expired yet. Apparently, after you and Mark split, he tried asking Miriam to take him back. That attempt to reconcile was what helped her pinpoint your current location. Of course, she flatly refused to get back together with him, though. No way. You're telling me Miriam and Mark were married? You might not have known this, but Mark, Marcus, Miriam, and I all went to the same university. What? Seriously? Yeah, first Marcus and I started dating. At the time, Miriam intentionally had a bit of interest in Marcus, but when she noticed Mark and started interacting with him, they hit it off and began dating. Eventually, after graduating from university, both couples ended up getting married. And here's where it gets interesting. By pure coincidence, the apartments we moved into after getting married were in the same complex, albeit on different floors. The A apartment complex? Exactly. Building 3 of that complex, though Marcus and I have since moved out. Wait, what was the apartment number again? Marcus and I were in Unit 305 while Miriam and Mark were in 502. That's it. What do you mean? I saw Marcus near the station and decided to follow him, thinking it was the perfect chance to figure out where you were living. The place I ended up following him to was Unit 502. Ah, so you thought you were tailing Marcus, but in reality you were following Mark instead. Now that I think about it, even though I knew your husband's name was Marcus, I guess I convinced myself otherwise while I was getting involved with Mark. Ah, well, sounds like you rewrote your own memories to fit your narrative. Jesse, you have a knack for believing whatever suits you best, don't you? That's not… You totally did, didn't you? Come on, admit it. Fine, whatever. If it's compensation, my rich boyfriend will pay for it anyway. Help me, I don't have any money. Robin, pick up! If this is about money, I'm not lending you any. I haven't even said anything yet. Well, you just said you don't have money, so it's pretty obvious where this conversation is going. Did I hit the nail on the head? Fine. Can you just lend me some money, please? I already told you, no. Weren't you just boasting about how your rich boyfriend would handle everything? He dumped me! Said there's no way he'd marry a homewrecker who's also a two-timing cheat. Oh, so he found out about your past behavior? Yeah, his parents had me investigated when he mentioned me to them. Ah, well that makes sense. When a family has money, they have to be careful about people who might target their assets. Especially when it comes to marriage, they're bound to be extra cautious. This isn't the time for you to be analyzing their reasoning. What am I supposed to do now? Figure it out on your own. You're my sister. You're supposed to help me when I'm in trouble. Don't pull the sister card only when it's convenient for you. You got yourself into this mess by going after someone you thought was my husband. Sure, your mistakes didn't directly harm me, but Miriam ended up being the real victim in all of this. Why should I lift a finger to help someone who's done nothing but cause problems? I can't believe this. Oh, and by the way, don't even think about turning to Mom and Dad for help. What? They were furious about what you did 3 years ago. Your little escapade ruined their relationship with Uncle and Aunt, the parents of Miriam. At this point, they barely tolerate the fact that I still keep in touch with Miriam. No way! That's how bad it got. In fact, Mom and Dad wanted me to tell you something. They don't consider you their daughter anymore. They don't want to see your face ever again. And they've officially disowned you. You can't be serious! Oh, I'm completely serious. Also, they've moved, so if you're thinking of showing up at the old house, don't bother. Some strangers are living there now. Nobody's going to help me. What am I supposed to do now? Robin, this is Jessie again. You can't just abandon me like this. You know I made mistakes, but I'm still your sister. Doesn't that mean anything to you? Stop calling me, Jessie. You have burned too many bridges to expect anything from me anymore. I have my own life, and I refuse to let your problems drag me down. Goodbye. Since it seemed like Jessie's messages were going to drag on endlessly with no sign of stopping or any real conclusion in sight, I finally decided that it was time to stop replying altogether. The endless stream of messages was getting more and more overwhelming, and the conversation isn't going anywhere. There was no sense in continuing to engage in a dialogue that seemed to be going in circles, especially when I felt like my responses weren't really making a difference. I had hoped that at some point things would calm down and she would figure it out on her own, but it was becoming increasingly clear that the situation was more complicated than I had initially thought. I had always been there for Jessie, or at least I thought I had been. We had been friends for a long time, and I'd seen her go through her fair share of ups and downs. She was the type of person who would always get herself into some kind of mess, yet somehow managed to get out of it with little more than a scratch. But this time, it felt different. This time, there was a sense of helplessness, a feeling that things were spiraling beyond her control. I didn't know how to help her anymore, especially when it seemed like nothing I said was having any real impact. She was determined to make her own choices, for better or worse, and maybe the best thing I could do for her was give her the space to figure things out on her own. So in a moment of frustration, I made the decision to stop responding and just leave her messages on read. It wasn't a decision I made lightly, and it carried with it a sense of guilt that I couldn't shake. I had always been the one to listen, to offer advice when she needed it, and to try to steer her in the right direction. But now, I wasn't sure if anything I said would make a difference. It was as though Jessie was caught up in a whirlwind of emotions and confusions that I couldn't untangle. She seemed to be stuck in a cycle of decisions that weren't leading her anywhere good, and I wasn't sure how much more I could help her when it felt like I was just another voice in the noise. Maybe, I thought, she just needed space to process everything and figure things out on her own. But as I would soon find out, leaving her on read didn't mean the end of the conversation. In the days that followed, Jessie's messages continued to flood my phone, each one seemingly more urgent and frantic than the last. It was as if she couldn't stop herself from updating me about her every move, every thought, and every new twist in the strange and chaotic story of her life. Even though I had stopped responding, it seemed like she was still looking for someone, anyone, to witness her drama, her frustrations, and her triumphs, no matter how small they seemed. The more I read, the more I began to feel like I was watching her unravel bit by bit. It wasn't just about the things she was saying anymore, it was about the way she was saying them. Her messages were no longer full of excitement and optimism about her new life in New York City. Instead, they became desperate, confused, and full of regret. Jessie, the girl that had once been so confident and fearless, was now showing a side of herself that was vulnerable and uncertain. She was trying to hold it together, but it was becoming increasingly difficult. At first, her messages had seemed harmless enough. She was just telling me about her new adventure in the city, her excitement about leaving her small hometown behind, and the promises of new opportunities and experiences. Jessie had always been the type to embrace change, to chase after something bigger and better, and she was convinced that New York City was the answer to all of her problems. It was supposed to be the fresh start she had been waiting for, the place where she could reinvent herself and leave everything behind. But as the days went by, it became clear that New York wasn't the dreamland she had imagined. New York City boyfriend is sending me money. Nobody in my hometown is willing to help me. I remember reading this message and feeling a mix of concern and disbelief. Jessie had always been good at finding people to lean on, but I had never heard her speak so bluntly about her situation. She seemed to be bragging about the money she was receiving from this boyfriend she had met online, but something about the message didn't sit right with me. It felt like she was depending on this stranger in a way that seemed dangerous and reckless, as though she was putting all her faith in someone she barely knew just because he was offering her financial support. The fact that she was so quick to turn to this guy for help instead of trying to rely on herself made me uneasy. It also made me think about the larger picture. Jessie had always been the type to expect people to come to her rescue to offer help when she needed it. It was a pattern that I had noticed over the years, and it was clear that this situation wasn't an isolated incident. There had been countless times in the past when Jessie had found herself in trouble and expected others to bail her out. But now, it seemed like she was trying to solve her problems by relying on someone who was, for all intents and purposes, a complete stranger. It was a risky move, one that I didn't think she fully understood. But that was just the beginning. As Jessie continued to update me, her tone began to shift. What had started as excitement about her new life in New York City quickly turned into frustration and confusion. She had gone from feeling like she was on top of the world to feeling completely alone and betrayed. Guys in New York City are so cold. As soon as I went out of my way to meet him, he completely ghosted me. Reading this, I couldn't help but feel sorry for her. Jessie had been so excited to meet this guy, convinced that he was going to be the one to make her feel welcome in the city, to show her the ropes and help her navigate this new chapter of her life. But instead, he had completely shut her out. It wasn't just that he didn't respond to her messages or calls, it was that he had gone silent entirely. She had gone out of her way to meet him, and in return, he had disappeared. It wasn't just a rejection, it felt like an abandonment. Jessie had invested so much hope and energy into this person, and to have him completely shut her out was a blow she wasn't prepared for. I could tell that Jessie was hurt, but rather than sitting with her feelings, she quickly tried to brush it off and move on to the next thing. "I've already found a new guy. Typical me, right?" It was clear that she wasn't letting herself fully process what had happened. Instead of confronting the feelings of disappointment and hurt, she was throwing herself into the next thing that came along. This new guy, this new relationship, was her way of trying to fill the void left by the first. But even as she typed those words, I could tell that she wasn't fully convinced by the new situation. She was trying to convince herself that everything was fine, that she could handle it, but deep down, I knew that she was just running from the pain of being hurt. She wasn't facing her feelings, she was covering them up with the distraction of a new relationship. And it wasn't long before that relationship began to show its own cracks. My new boyfriend lent me some money, but something feels off about him. This was when I began to get really concerned. Jessie had been so confident earlier, so quick to jump into a new relationship, but now she was expressing doubt. She didn't explain what exactly felt off about him, but it was clear that something was wrong. Her intuition was telling her that she was getting herself into another dangerous situation, but she wasn't sure how to get out of it. I could almost feel her internal struggle as she tried to justify her actions while simultaneously realizing that she had made yet another mistake. What should I do? He told me I need to earn money here, and then he took me to this really shady place. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I could sense the panic in her message, the fear that had crept in as she realized she was in over her head. What kind of place was she talking about? What did this guy want from her? Why had she ended up in a situation where she was being asked to earn money in a shady place? It was all too much, and I couldn't help but wonder how she had gotten here. How had she gone from being a girl with dreams of a fresh start in New York to someone caught in the dangerous situation like this? This is so bad. Her brief, desperate message left no room for doubt. Jessie knew that she was in trouble, but she didn't know how to escape. It was clear that she was stuck, unsure of what to do or who to turn to. She had gone down this path before, but this time it felt different. The stakes were higher, and there was no safety net. Please help me. That was the last message I received from her. I sat there for a long time after reading it, the weight of her words sinking in. I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of worry for her. She'd gotten herself tangled up in a situation that was beyond her control. And now she was reaching out for help, but there was nothing I could do. It was a helpless feeling, one that I had experienced before, but never to this extent. Jessie had always been the type to get herself into trouble, but this time it felt like she was in over her head. She had gone too far, and there was no easy way out. For a long time, I kept wondering if I should respond, if I should reach out and offer her the help she so desperately needed. But in the end, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I wasn't sure what I could say to make any difference. Maybe she needed to face the consequences of her actions, to experience the fallout before she could start making better choices. Maybe she needed to hit rock bottom before she could start climbing up. So I didn't respond. Instead, I sat in silence, hoping that Jessie would find a way out of the mess she had made. I wasn't sure if she would, but I couldn't be the one to fix everything for her anymore. She had to figure it out on her own, no matter how much it hurt to watch her struggle. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.
All right, I've made up my mind.
Wyatt? I was just about to text you to ask if you were done with work. What did you decide?
Rima, sorry, but I'm spending tonight with my ex-girlfriend.
Riley? What? Your ex-girlfriend, as in Riley, the one who lived next door to your parents?
Yeah, my childhood friend and ex. One of those people who are just extra special.
Hold on, are you seriously saying that, knowing what day it is today? Even if you didn't realize, what you're saying is completely outrageous. Do you have any idea what you're doing?
Yeah, that's part of why I'm messaging you. The hotel we booked for our wedding anniversary tonight, I'll be staying there with Riley instead.
What?
The hotel's already reserved, so I might as well spend it with the person I'm actually with right now, right?
I seriously question your sanity. I never thought I'd be treated like this on our first wedding anniversary.
Oh, come on, you can go any other time, right? Just let me have this one.
I can't even begin to understand your thought process.
Please, just let it go.
You do realize what this means for us going forward, right?
I'm not sure what you mean, but I'll take that as you letting me have my way. I've already checked into the hotel, by the way.
I see. I guess it can't be helped.
Thanks.
Thanks? Seriously? Your delusion is so overwhelming, it's almost refreshing. I've managed to calm down because of it. I'll be heading back to my parents' house then. I knew it. He's involved with her. What? It feels like my years of trust and complacency have been used against me, and I am furious. Jennifer, calm down. Are you saying the private investigator you hired has reported back? Yes. So it was her after all? Yes, it was her. I can't forgive this. I understand how you feel, but you need to stay calm. How composed we are now could determine what happens next. Yes, I'll do my best to calm down. Jennifer, I know it's hard to stay calm right now, but I have some urgent additional information. What is it? Are you alone right now? Yes, my husband is away on a company trip, so I'm alone tonight. Understood. Is this about Wyatt? Was there something about him in the investigator's report? A little, yes. Some details about him came up as a byproduct of the investigation I requested. Wyatt is my husband's stepson, so he isn't biologically mine, but even so, I couldn't help but feel sickened by what I read. Could you share that with me as well? Sure, would you like to come over now? If it's all right, I'll come by in an hour. Got it, I'll get everything ready.
Whew! What an amazing night! Chemistry really is important, huh? I'm sleep deprived but completely satisfied. Morning coffee with someone you connect with is unbeatable.
You're actually saying that to me? Your wife?
What?
The fact that that's your response, you're beyond saving.
Huh? Anyway, no time to waste. She's asking for a round 2, so I'll catch up with you later. Oh, by the way, I extended the stay. I'll be back in a week.
A week? What about work?
Who cares about that? Just tell him I'm sick or something.
Do it yourself. I'm not doing it for you.
Later!
He is hopeless. Rima, thank you for last night and today. Have you managed to calm down a bit? Yeah, somehow. I spoke with my brother earlier and explained the situation, and he's agreed to let me stay at his place for a while. He even introduced me to one of his lawyer friends, and I've already scheduled a consultation for tomorrow. Oh, that's quick. And you? You're just getting started, aren't you? Yeah, first I need to start gathering evidence. We only found out about Wyatt's cheating last night, and while the investigation report you commissioned suggests their relationship has been going on for some time, if I'm going to move forward with the divorce, I need a solid final blow, something irrefutable. Also, I'll need to coordinate with how you're proceeding. You're right. We need to stay on the same page here. If you'd like, I can refer you to the private investigator I used. Since it's someone my brother knows, they're willing to give a bit of a discount. Really? Oh, that would be a huge help. All right, I'll pass your contact information to them. Thank you so much. What about you? What are you going to do next? Well, Wyatt will probably waltz back in like nothing happened, but you can't just go on like that, right? Are you going back to your parents' house for now? Yes, that's the plan. My workplace will be farther away, but fortunately, my job can be done remotely. I'm planning to discuss it with my manager. Got it. Our enemy is the same. Let's keep in touch and get through this together. Yes.
Hey, Rima! Huh? What? I just got back from the hotel and there was a divorce application sitting on the table. Perfect timing! Thanks!
Oh, perfect timing, huh?
Yeah, Riley and I, after spending an entire week at the hotel, coming together again and again, how should I say this? The thought of us returning to separate lives now just feels so sad. Riley feels the same way, and honestly, I feel bad for you, but I've decided to finalize the divorce as soon as possible. With that resolve, Riley and I came home together, and there it was, a divorce application with your name already filled in. All your stuff was packed up and gone too. And now that I think about it, you said you were going to your parents. You even took care of the moving process for me. Thanks to you, Riley and I can start living together today.
Oh, is that so?
Seriously, thank you. I'm really grateful, truly. I mean it.
Is that so?
I'm gonna be so happy with Riley.
Is that so?
I'm heading out now to file the divorce papers and the marriage application at the same time.
The level of delusion you've reached is truly astounding.
Our divorce is finalized, and Riley and I are officially married. We're husband and wife now.
Congratulations.
We're heading straight off to our honeymoon.
Oh, so you're not coming back home?
Nah, Riley wanted to go to this resort, so we'll be there for about a week.
Another week, huh? Not that it's any of my business now, but have you informed your company about your absence?
Yeah, can you handle that for me again?
No, do it yourself. I have no obligation to do that anymore.
Once we get to the resort, we're heading straight to the mixed outdoor hot spring.
Jennifer, the divorce has been finalized. It seems they also filed the marriage registration with Riley at the same time. Oh my, how indecent! Well, from our side, it's been quite an interesting turn of events. I see. How about you? Yes, everything is going according to plan here. I just had my husband sign the divorce papers a moment ago, and I plan to submit them tomorrow. Not immediately, but tomorrow? Yeah, just to be safe, I'll do it tomorrow. Soon my divorce with my husband will be finalized. We'll be complete strangers. You had met with your husband earlier, right? How was it? It seems he had no idea that his affair had been discovered. His face turned completely pale when I told him. He signed the divorce papers without saying much, but then suddenly it seemed to hit him. He looked at me and said, "Wait, I still have time, right?" And with a desperate, wide smile, he ran off. I wonder what he was trying to get in time for, I wonder. Who knows?
What the hell? Could this really be happening? I wish it weren't true.
What now?
Riley and Dad have been seeing each other, and it seems Riley actually considers Dad as her main partner, and Dad is seriously in love with Riley too. It seems like he wanted to marry Riley, but since he's still married to Mom, if their affair were to get exposed, it would result in a divorce and alimony. To avoid that risk, it looks like he thought that if I, his son, marry Riley and we start living together, they'd always have a reason to be together.
But you're still married to me, aren't you? Just so you know, I'm going to claim alimony.
It's gonna be on me to pay, and it won't affect us, so whatever.
What a perfect example of someone only thinking about their own convenience.
But the thing is, Dad's affair was discovered by Mom, and the divorce has been decided. Dad's gonna have to pay alimony to Mom, but now he can marry Riley openly. Last night, Dad contacted Riley and told her that.
You and Riley must have filed your marriage registration just a little bit ago, right?
Yeah, we did.
You probably already know this, but legally, people who used to be husband and wife can't remarry each other. Even if you and Riley get divorced now, your dad and Riley can't get married anymore.
That's it! That's what I was trying to tell you!
What?
Dad showed up at our honeymoon resort, and just now in our hotel room there was total chaos. Dad was shouting at me, "Why did you file the marriage papers with such timing? Now we can't get married!" He started hitting me, and Riley started kicking me and screaming. They both just tore into me. Then they both got all fired up saying, "But our love won't change." And before I knew it, Dad and Riley were about to, right in front of me.
Oh my.
I couldn't bear to watch anymore, so I grabbed my stuff and fled the resort.
Wow. It's turned into a full-blown mess, hasn't it?
What am I supposed to do now?
Don't ask me.
What?
We've already divorced. Don't drag me into this.
I got fired from my job.
You got fired from your job?
I stayed in a hotel for a week. Then after that, I just couldn't get myself to leave the house because of all the chaos. But eventually I had no more paid leave left, so I forced myself to go back to work after nearly half a month. And when I got there, they treated the 2 weeks as unauthorized absences.
All right. Unauthorized absence for 2 weeks, wasn't it?
Why didn't you tell them you'd be absent?
You told me to handle it.
But...
The thing is, you took the extra vacation for staying at the hotel because you were cheating with another woman, and the honeymoon trip with Riley was after we'd already divorced. And yet you just dumped all the responsibility of notifying the company on me, which is totally unreasonable.
What the hell am I supposed to do? This is a nightmare, and I have no idea what to do anymore.
Just so you know, I'll be claiming alimony later, so make sure you pay up.
This is still going on? It's a nightmare! This is my fault. I should have made sure to take care of everything.
You're just realizing that now?
What do you mean?
It's just like you said the other day. All of this started because of the mess you created. You thought you could get away with everything, but now that things have spiraled, you're blaming everything on bad luck and timing.
I didn't think it would go this far.
Well, now you know. You should have thought things through before you did all this.
It's too late now, I know that.
You didn't have any intention of actually working through it, did you? You kept pretending everything was fine while making it worse, lying, cheating, and expecting others to fix it for you.
I didn't think it would be like this.
Well, it is. Now you need to deal with the consequences whether you want to or not.
What do I do? I don't know what to do anymore.
I've told you already, I'm not helping you. You're on your own.
But please, I need your help just this once.
You think I'll just help you after everything you've done? You're the one who chose all of this. You're the one who caused it, not me. You have to face it now.
Please, I just don't know what to do. I'm so lost and everything is falling apart.
You should have thought about that before.
I've made a huge mistake. I should never have done all this. I've been thinking about everything, and I don't know why I was so selfish. I thought I could get away with it, but now it's too late. Everything's ruined. I hurt so many people. I hurt you. I hurt Riley. I hurt Mom. I can't take back what I've done.
What do you want me to say? You've already made your choices. Now you have to live with them.
But I don't know how. I don't know what to do anymore.
You'll figure it out. But don't expect anyone to save you now. You have to face the consequences on your own.
But I don't know if I can. I feel like everything is crashing down.
It is crashing down, and it's your own doing. I can't fix it for you.
Please, just listen. I know I messed up and I don't deserve forgiveness, but I don't know what else to do. I need to fix things.
I've heard enough from you.
What? Why?
I've had enough of your excuses. This is on you. You're the one who chose this path. You didn't think things through, and now you have to deal with the aftermath.
I understand. I know I messed up. I'm just asking for a chance to make things right.
You've had chances. You've had many chances, and you have thrown every single one of them away.
Please, I'll do anything. Just give me a chance.
No, I'm done here. While the person in question was still wallowing in their despair, I took it upon myself to push things forward, ensuring that the alimony was settled in full, and in one lump sum, no less. I wasn't going to allow any of this to drag on longer than necessary. There was no point in delaying something that needed to be resolved quickly, especially when it came to such an important issue. Time was of the essence, and I wasn't going to let him waste any more of it, nor allow his emotional state to get in the way of practical matters. It had already been a long, drawn-out situation. We couldn't afford to continue like that, caught in limbo. Naturally, I didn't forget about Riley, the one who had caused all of this in the first place, the affair partner. She was no less responsible for the mess than Wyatt, and I made sure she was billed for her part as well. It was the least I could do. After all, she had contributed to the ruin of not just a marriage, but a family, and I wasn't about to let that slide without making sure she faced the consequences. The situation might have been difficult, but it was not going to be a free pass for anyone involved. Riley, in particular, seemed to think that her involvement was somewhat excusable, but I wasn't about to let her think she could escape her share of the blame so easily. I had to remind myself that while I was within my rights to demand this from them, I was still dealing with a family dynamic that was much more complicated than I would have liked. Family, no matter how flawed, always seemed to pull you back in, even when you had long since accepted the fact that you were better off without them. But in this case, there was no escaping what needed to be done. The financial aspects of it all had to be handled, and handled quickly. So I set about ensuring everything was squared away. The last thing I needed was for them to try and drag things out even longer, especially now that the damage had been done. Looking at my stepfather, who was now in the unfortunate position of being a tragic figure unable to legally marry, and Riley, it became clear that they both viewed everything that was happening as a little more than a storyline, a way to bolster the image of their relationship. To them, every part of their ordeal, from the betrayal to the eventual separation, seemed to be just another piece of drama to help cement their connection. I began to notice how they behaved, how everything that unfolded between them seemed to be viewed through the lens of a script they were following. There was no real sense of remorse or reflection, only an eagerness to move on and pretend as though everything was going according to plan. It was as though their entire relationship had been nothing more than a performance, and this unfortunate mess they had created was simply a chapter they could easily brush aside. They seemed to take it all in stride, as though it was something expected, something that only added flavor to their story. I could almost see them as characters in a soap opera, playing their parts, believing that everything that happened was somehow meant to be. It was an unsettling thought, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized it made sense. This was how they processed everything, the betrayal, the lies, the heartache. It was all part of some narrative they had built for themselves, a story where they were the central figures and everyone else was simply an extra in the background. I almost wondered if they were able to block out the emotional and moral implications of what they had done, or if they truly believed they had done nothing wrong. Their emotions, however, didn't seem to run deep. There was no real regret, no true understanding of the harm they had caused. From what I gathered, they didn't seem to realize how everything they had done had affected not just Wyatt's family, but the wider network of people who had known them. They had become so absorbed in their little world that they were blind to the pain they'd inflicted. There were people who had once looked up to them, people who had cared about them, and they had shattered those relationships with their actions. But neither of them seemed to have any awareness of the damage they had done. All they cared about was each other, their newly formed bond, and how they could present themselves as the victims of a cruel twist of fate. They were blind to everything else. Still, even though their perception of it all was rather self-serving, they managed to settle their debts. Riley and Wyatt both, paying the alimony in full and in one lump sum. I was somewhat surprised at how quickly it was done, but I suppose it was to be expected when there was little to no resistance from either of them. They had no intention of making things more difficult than they needed to be, not when they were so focused on their new lives. They probably thought that paying the money and putting everything behind them would help them move forward, but the truth was the mess they had made was not something you could easily erase with money. No amount of alimony would undo the damage, but at least it brought the financial side of things to a close. For me, this quick resolution was actually a blessing. While I had my reservations about the whole situation, at least it meant there would be less hassle in the long run. The last thing I wanted was to keep dragging things out or dealing with more of the emotional fallout from this entire mess. There had been enough of that already, and with the alimony paid in full, I was able to cross that particular issue off my list. No more arguments, no more back and forth. It was done. I didn't have to worry about Wyatt or Riley trying to wriggle their way out of their responsibilities. They had paid, and that was that. I could focus on moving forward, and that was the most important thing for me at this point. But life didn't stop there. After the payment was made, Wyatt and Riley's marriage came to an end, just as expected. Their relationship, which had always seemed to be built on shaky ground, collapsed completely. Wyatt, having lost everything, his family, his home, his finances, left town. There was nothing left for him there. He took what little he could and disappeared. No one knew where he went, and honestly, no one cared. His absence was just another part of the drama that had played out. It was as if he had become a ghost, fading into the background, no longer a part of the picture. The only thing left behind was the mess he had created and the sense of emptiness that followed him out of town. As for Riley, she didn't exactly have the luxury of disappearing. She was left to deal with the fallout of the divorce, but instead of taking time to reflect on her role in everything that had happened, she quickly moved on, within a matter of weeks. She and my ex-stepfather were already living together. It seemed like the next logical step for them, a way to solidify their bond. Their relationship, which had started off in secrecy, was now fully out in the open, and yet, despite the outward appearance of everything being fine, there was an underlying tension that couldn't be ignored. In the beginning, everything seemed to be progressing smoothly, or at least that's what they wanted everyone to believe, but soon enough the cracks began to show. The neighbors, who had been quietly observing their relationship from a distance, finally started to take notice. At first they kept their opinions to themselves, but as the days went by, it became increasingly difficult to ignore the odd looks and whispered conversations behind closed doors. The whole situation had started to attract attention, and not in a good way. It was then that my ex-stepfather and Riley seemed to wake up to reality. For all their earlier confidence, they hadn't realized just how much judgment they were under. It wasn't just their immediate families that had been affected by their actions, it was the whole community. People who had once respected them now viewed them with suspicion, and it seemed to be a hard pill to swallow. They were no longer the picture-perfect couple they had once imagined themselves to be. Instead, they were just two people who made a series of poor decisions and now had to live with the consequences. Their fantasy of a happily ever after was crumbling before their eyes. It wasn't long before their relationship started to show signs of strain. The awkward silences grew longer, the arguments more frequent, and the sense of unease that had previously been pushed aside could no longer be ignored. They had moved in together quickly, thinking it would somehow solidify their connection, but it had only brought out the differences between them. They weren't the perfect match they had once believed themselves to be, and the reality of their situation was starting to take a toll. Now it seemed as though the end was near. The tension between them had become palpable. The relationship was no longer the fresh, exciting new beginning they had imagined it to be. It had become a strained and uncomfortable existence, one that was unlikely to last much longer. Every day felt like a reminder of how fragile their bond truly was, and how quickly it had unraveled. The realization that they were not going to live happily ever after, that their story was not one of a fairy tale romance, seemed to have finally sunk in.
I brought back my 27-year-old girlfriend and our 6-year-old daughter from the place I had been stationed alone for work. Destiny, you're no longer needed. Sign the divorce papers and get out. Take our son with you, too.
Is that so? Have you already prepared the divorce papers?
Yeah, I'll put them in the mailbox tomorrow. I've already filled out my part, so I want you to submit them to the municipal office as soon as possible.
I see. Well, since you've gone to the trouble, I'll accept them. But I won't be submitting anything until I've confirmed that alimony and child support have been deposited into my account.
What? Huh?
What's the problem?
It's just, your response is unusually calm. I was expecting something more like panic or outrage.
Oh, is that what you were hoping for?
Well, I mean, normally I don't think anyone would be composed in this situation.
That's probably because I've known about your affair for quite some time.
What?
You've been having an affair during the 8 years you were stationed away, and you even had a child with the other woman, didn't you? At first, you were supposed to return after 3 years, but you kept finding excuses to extend your stay. In reality, it was because you had a child with her, wasn't it? You couldn't come back here because of that. And now, after all these years, you finally decided to return because as your child with her grew older, it became harder to keep it a secret. The timing coincided with our son Jake turning 18 and becoming an adult. Isn't that the truth?
You knew all of that? This is actually terrifying.
Oh, please. Do you know who first noticed your affair? It was Jake.
What?
It was around this time last year Jake was in Houston for a sports tournament.
Houston?
You understand what I'm saying, don't you? You and your mistress, along with your daughter, were also in Houston for a little family trip, weren't you? You played house, pretending to be one big happy family, didn't you? And Jake saw it with his own eyes. It's been almost a year since that incident, so Jake seems to have calmed down a bit, but I won't let you act as if you don't understand how traumatic this has been for him. I also know that right now you, your mistress, and your daughter are temporarily staying in a weekly rental apartment in the city. I'll be sending you a certified letter there. I've already contacted a lawyer, so you better prepare yourself.
Destiny, I received the certified letter.
The evidence of your affair was included too, wasn't it?
Yeah. I can't believe you managed to dig up so much information. But thanks to that, I've realized something important.
What would that be?
You seem to know an awful lot about my girlfriend and daughter.
Well, of course. Since I'm preparing for a divorce on the grounds of infidelity, I had to thoroughly gather evidence to prove your responsibility.
If you know that much, it means you hired a private investigator or something, right?
That's right. Given the distance to where you were stationed, it was the only practical option.
I knew it. In that case, the investigation fees you used will be deducted from the alimony I owe.
Excuse me?
The money you used for that must have come from what I earned through my work, right? As a stay-at-home wife, you don't have your own income. Since you used my money without permission, it's only fair that you pay me back.
I'm not a stay-at-home wife anymore, though.
What?
Right now, Jake is sitting next to me and reading your messages. He's saying, Dad really doesn't know anything, does he?
What's that supposed to mean?
You remember how Jake sent you a link to an online bookstore the other day?
Yeah, I remember. It was for some novel, right?
That novel is my source of income.
Wait, what? Jake sent me a message telling me to check the author's name, so I went to the online shopping page he mentioned. And there it was! The author's name was your old last name, Destiny!
When Jake entered middle school, I submitted a novel to a competition just for fun. To my surprise, it ended up winning an award. I decided to use my maiden name as a pen name to separate it from my real identity. It was a spur-of-the-moment decision, and I've just continued writing under that name ever since. Thought I'd told you about how it eventually brought in enough royalties to live comfortably. Did I not mention it before?
Wait, seriously?
I'm pretty sure I even handled all the paperwork about our tax and dependency status at the time. Did you forget?
What?
Anyway, that's the situation. So no, I'm not a full-time housewife. And just so you know, the cost of hiring the private investigator, I covered it entirely with my own money. There's no need for you to worry about that.
Oh, I see.
Also, the one who needs to move out of that house is not me, Samson. It's you.
What?
You seem to have forgotten, but this house originally belonged to my parents. When my father passed away 2 years ago, I inherited it. Did you forget about that, too?
Now that you mention it, yeah, I remember. But you've got to be kidding me. I thought this house didn't have rent to worry about, so I could bring my girlfriend and daughter here. Where are we supposed to live now? Hey, Destiny! I can kind of understand the alimony. Both my girlfriend and I were already prepared to pay that. But what's the deal with child support?
What do you mean, what's the deal? It's child support for Jake, of course. You're responsible for paying it until he turns 21.
Wait a minute, the legal age of adulthood is 18 now, isn't it? Don't you know that?
Oh, is that what this is about? Of course I know.
Then I shouldn't have any obligation to pay child support anymore, should I?
Wrong.
What?
Child support is typically required until the child turns 21. The change in the age of adulthood to 18 doesn't affect that.
What?
Think about it. The age for drinking and smoking is still 21, right? It's the same principle.
Seriously?
If you're unsure, you can consult your lawyer. Oh, and another thing. I'm guessing you're just reaching out without properly reviewing the certified documents we sent yesterday. But let me remind you, I consulted a legal professional before making these claims for alimony and child support. The chances that we made any errors in the calculations or the claims themselves are extremely low. So instead of bombarding me with questions, maybe you should do your research first. Try to understand my perspective here. It's exhausting having to explain this every time.
Destiny, about Jake's child support. It's only for 2 years, right? Can't you cut me some slack?
What? If it's only 2 years, then pay up properly.
No, it's not like that. Look, I have a daughter now. She's gonna need a lot of money as she grows up.
Let me guess, you're saying you didn't prepare for Jake's child support because you wrongly assumed it wouldn't be required, right? And for the record, the child support isn't for me, it's for Jake. He said if my father can't even fulfill basic parental responsibilities, then I'll make sure to get what's due. So that's his stance on the matter.
What?
I respect Jake's decision on this.
But seriously, I'm strapped for cash and paying it all at once?
Figure it out yourself. I don't trust you.
At least let me pay in monthly installments. Come on!
It's time you stopped making excuses.
What?
If you have questions, ask your lawyer. If you have any requests, communicate them through your lawyer.
Destiny!
I'm not going to block you because of Jake, but as a general rule, I'd prefer all communication to go through my lawyer.
Wait, hold on!
Bye.
Destiny! Destiny, it's me, Samson. Your ex-husband, Samson?
Ugh.
I expected that reaction, but please, just hear me out. This is really important.
What do you want?
I got divorced.
Huh?
My wife, She left me. She just up and left, taken off without a second thought. Said she couldn't see a bright future for our marriage anymore. She even left our daughter behind with me.
Oh, I see. Let me guess. You dumped all the housework and childcare responsibilities on her, didn't you?
What? How did you...
Just a hunch. I figured you hadn't changed, and it looks like I was right.
Oh, man, I knew it. You're the only one who really understands me. Let's get married. You're still living in that house, right? I'll bring my daughter over tonight, and you can become her new mother.
I'm already remarried.
What?
Yes, my husband is a fellow novelist, someone my age. I've also moved out of that house. I live in his apartment now. As for the house you're referring to, Jake and his wife are the ones living there since they got married.
Jake got married? Why didn't anyone tell me?
Jake suggested I wait and surprise you with the news. He's right here next to me, actually.
What?
Jake and his wife are visiting me right now. When Jake heard about you still pestering me, he joked that it's better to come clean about my marriage. He thought keeping it a secret might backfire somehow.
What the hell?
Oh, and one more thing. Don't even think about reaching out to Jake for help. He doesn't see you as his father and would call the police on you in seconds.
The police?
Anyway, I think we're done here. You've said what you needed to say, right? Goodbye.
Wait, hold on. What am I supposed to do? How do I even raise a teenage daughter? I have no idea how to deal with her. Do you have any advice? She's in such a difficult phase right now, and the house, it's falling apart. I mean, it's a complete mess, and I don't know how to keep up with cleaning and everything. Destiny, please!
Samson's tendency to completely abandon household responsibilities, leaving them all on my shoulders, wasn't something that started after our divorce. It's something that happened consistently throughout our marriage. From the moment we said our vows, it became a pattern, one that would continue throughout our time together. There was never any real effort on his part to share the workload of housework or parenting. It was as if he had no concept of what it meant to be a partner in those respects, and I found myself doing everything. At the time, I thought it was just the way things were supposed to be. I tried to convince myself that I could handle it, but in reality, it drained me to my core. And looking back, it's hard to believe I allowed it to continue for as long as I did. I can still remember how I felt when it was finally decided that my ex-husband would be transferring to a new position on his own. The decision felt like both a relief and a burden being lifted all at once. It was like the weight of the world had been taken off my shoulders, and I was finally going to be free. I distinctly remember thinking, I'm finally going to be free of the big child that I've been living with for so long. It's almost embarrassing to admit that now, but at the time, that thought brought me a sense of clarity. It was the first time in years that I didn't feel as if I was carrying the weight of everything by myself. I felt like I could breathe again. That moment was so important to me because it was the breaking point, the realization that I could no longer continue on that path. I had been overwhelmed for so long, trying to juggle the demands of our marriage, the household, and the kids while feeling utterly alone. I'd been living with a man who, no matter how much I gave, would never be able to contribute equally. His inability to understand or care about what I was going through was heartbreaking. The moment he left, I could finally breathe, but it also marked the beginning of the end of our relationship. Fast forward to after our divorce, when he eventually married the woman he had been having an affair with. It was no surprise to me. I had watched him carefully choose this woman during our marriage, and it was clear that he was emotionally invested in her long before we officially parted ways. It was almost as though he was more interested in his own desires than in the well-being of his family. I remember feeling betrayed, not just because of the affair, but because I had invested so much in our relationship, only to see him repeat the same mistakes. It was as if the divorce was just the beginning of a cycle he was doomed to repeat. And as expected, after they married, the same pattern unfolded. Samson once again threw all the household responsibilities onto his new wife, leaving her to handle everything while he continued to live a life of convenience and neglect. It was as though nothing had changed. He had simply moved on from one woman to the next. But the habits he had developed during our marriage had not disappeared. Once again, she found herself doing everything while he sat idly by, as if the burden of daily life was hers to bear. The fact that he could so easily fall back into these old habits made me realize just how little he had learned from the past. It was as if he hadn't taken any of the lessons from our marriage to heart, and it didn't take long before the relationship broke down just as our own had. It was heartbreaking to watch, and now after everything, I couldn't help but feel a sense of vindication. The path he had chosen, the one he had walked so easily, had led him right back to the same place, another divorce, another failed relationship. It was as though he couldn't escape the consequences of his actions, no matter how hard he tried. His inability to grow, to learn from his mistakes, had led him down this very predictable road. And it was almost as if I could see it happening before it even began. Now my ex-husband finds himself in a place where he is completely stuck. He has no idea how to navigate the challenges of life, especially when it comes to his daughter. He's clueless when it comes to raising her, interacting with her, or even understanding the basics of parenting. It's as if he's utterly inequipped for the responsibility, and that's probably the saddest part of all. I had hoped after our divorce that he would step up, that he would realize the importance of being a father, but it seems like he only has grown more disconnected from that role. His relationship with his daughter is strained at best. He doesn't know how to talk to her, how to relate to her, or even how to be there for her when she needs him most. In fact, his daughter's relationship with him has become so fractured that she eventually found herself in a position where she felt compelled to reach out to Child Protective Services. The home he's provided for her has become so unbearable that she had no other choice but to seek help. She could no longer live in a house where neglect was the norm. The stench of the house, the mess, the lack of care, everything about it drove her to seek a way out. Can you imagine being a child in that situation? Feeling that your only option is to go to strangers for help because your own parent can't provide a safe, clean, or nurturing environment? It's heartbreaking, and it speaks volumes about the kind of person Samson has become. But this is where the story takes another turn. Not only is his personal life in shambles, but his professional life has also taken a major hit. He's been removed from the fast track to promotion at work. Once a promising employee, his career is now stagnating. It's almost poetic in a way. His inability to commit, his selfishness, and his lack of accountability have all caught up with him. He betrayed people along the way, and now he's paying the price for it. His lack of effort, both at home and at work, has led him to a point of no return. It's a harsh reminder that actions have consequences, and those consequences can follow you in every part of your life. I can't help but feel a certain sense of validation when I think about all that's happened. It's not like I take pleasure in his downfall, but rather that I've been able to see firsthand how life is a way of delivering consequences. We all make choices, and sometimes those choices come back to hurt us. For Samson, the choices he made, time and time again, have led him to a place of misery and regret. It's a stark reminder that happiness doesn't come from avoiding responsibility or taking the easy way out. At the same time, I can't help but feel a sense of sadness for his daughter. She didn't ask for this. She didn't ask for a father who couldn't care for her, who neglected her emotional needs, and who failed to provide the basics of a stable home. The life she's had to endure is something no child should have to go through. I think about her future, and I worry. Will she be able to overcome the damage that's been done? Will she be able to find a way to move forward, or will she carry the scars of her childhood with her into adulthood? It's a question that haunts me, and I wonder if she will ever truly escape the shadow of her father's neglect. For me, the years of exhaustion, of carrying everything on my own, are behind me. I've moved on, and I've learned so much along the way. I've learned the importance of setting boundaries, of not allowing someone else to shoulder all the responsibility while I bear the weight of everything. I've learned about the importance of recognizing my worth and not settling for anything less than the respect and care I deserve. And while my life isn't perfect, it's mine. I've built a life that is my own, free from the burden of someone else's irresponsibility. As for Samson, he's stuck in the mess he created for himself. He's unable to break free from the patterns that have held him captive for so long. He's trapped in a cycle of poor decisions, unable to see a way out. And as I reflect on his situation, I realize that it's a cautionary tale. It's a story of what happens when we fail to take responsibility for our actions, when we prioritize our own desires over the needs of others, and when we refuse to grow. His life is a reflection of everything he chose, and the consequences have been devastating. He may never fully realize the depth of his mistakes, but his story will always serve as a reminder of the importance of accountability. Looking back at who I was during our marriage, tired, frustrated, and desperate for a change, I realize just how far I've come. I'm no longer the person who quietly suffered under the weight of someone else's neglect. I've claimed my sense of self, and I have found peace in knowing that I am in control of my own life now. Samson's story may be one of failure, but it's also a story of lessons learned, and those lessons will stay with me as I continue to move forward. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story. Pearl? Oh my, isn't this Leah, the poor one? Did you get lonely because no one talks to you at the kindergarten? It's only you and your entourage of that mother and child who are ignoring me. Huh? Listen here, Pearl. But how is it acceptable for you to openly show that attitude, ignoring me so blatantly in front of the children, and even drag the kids into it? Isn't that behavior completely inappropriate for a parent at a kindergarten? Oh, the poor single mother is barking again. I have a husband, and I'm not poor enough to be treated like I'm destitute. Then bring your husband here. Only then will I believe you. I told you my husband is working overseas, so I can't bring him here. See? I knew it. Your husband isn't here, is he? I knew it. It's a single mother situation after all. I've told you already that's not the case. Poor people shouldn't be coming to the kindergarten. Seriously, enough already.
Grandpa, the friends at kindergarten didn't talk to me again. They said poor people shouldn't come to kindergarten.
Leah, do you have a moment?
Oh, Father? It's rare for you to call at this time. What's going on?
Well, it's just that I noticed something strange in a message from Billy. I wasn't sure if you knew about it, and I thought it'd be better to talk to you directly.
Huh? From Billy?
Billy, as you know, recently started going to that cram school, and that's when he decided to get a smartphone.
Yes, even though he's just in his first year of junior high, we discussed it with your father, and considering he comes home late sometimes, we thought it'd be better for him to have one. This way he could stay in touch, especially if he's out late. And I feel a little more secure knowing he can contact us if he needs anything. I didn't want him to feel left out, especially since many of his friends already have one.
From what I can gather, the message seemed to be from Maggie using Billy's phone. She must have borrowed it and sent me a message because the words used were ones a 5-year-old typically wouldn't use. I believe Billy must have helped her type it or at least guided her in writing it. I was shocked at how clearly written it was for someone so young. I wasn't sure if I should be concerned or not. I don't even know where she could have learned some of those phrases, but I'm sure Billy had to have helped her.
Now that you mention it, on the very first day Billy had his smartphone, Maggie kept running after him saying, "I want to use my brother's phone too." Did she get to borrow it from him? What did you receive in the message? What exactly did she say?
Well, it was this. Grandpa, my friends at kindergarten didn't talk to me again. Poor people shouldn't come to kindergarten.
What? This
is the exact message that was sent. I haven't edited it in any way. I made sure to read it through several times, and it was definitely the message Billy sent. I'm still trying to make sense of it. But it seems like Maggie might not be getting along well with her friends at kindergarten. She must be feeling left out or hurt in some way. As for the mention of poor people, I'm not sure how that came up, and I'm definitely confused about it.
I'm sorry for making you worry. It seems like Billy's been worried too. I'll talk to him about it properly later. I really need to understand what's going on with Maggie and why she's been feeling so upset. I'm not sure how to handle this.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Do you have any idea why this is happening? If you're having trouble with something, I'm here to listen. Don't hesitate to share what you're thinking.
Well, actually, I think I could use some advice. I believe the message you got was related to Maggie being ignored by her friends at kindergarten. She might be dealing with something that's making her feel isolated. I'm really concerned about what she might be going through at her age. She's only 5, and this is a difficult situation for kids when it comes to making friends and dealing with social dynamics.
Ignored?
It all started because I, as her mother, ended up getting on the wrong side of one of the moms who's a leader at the kindergarten. I didn't even see it coming, but it's been building up for a while now. At first I thought I could just stay out of it and avoid trouble, but then it became more complicated. Now it's affecting Maggie directly.
On the wrong side? What happened?
The mom's name is Pearl. Her father is the president of a major local company, and her husband is the vice president. They're quite wealthy and proud of making large donations to the kindergarten, showing off their upper-class status. They like to flaunt their power, and it seems like they enjoy being admired for their wealth and influence. But more than that, it seems like she is used to having people around her and doing whatever she wants because of her connections. It's hard to explain, but she seems to think that everyone else should bow to her, especially in the kindergarten setting. I'm just a bit confused as to why she felt the need to involve me in all of this.
Why did she pick on you?
She mistakenly thought that we were a poor single-mother family. She made assumptions based on some of the choices I've made and some of the circumstances surrounding our family.
Huh? A single mother?
Because my husband is working overseas and has never even come home, she must have assumed that we were divorced. I never gave her any reason to think that, but it didn't matter. Plus, I'm not a stay-at-home mom, and I work as an employee. Most of the clothes I wear are from brands that are generally considered inexpensive or budget-friendly. Our temporary apartment, while we wait for our new home to be built, is in a building that's 60 years old. It's not the nicest place, but it's all we can afford right now, and we're making do. It seems that these things matched her idea of what constitutes a poor family. So, Pearl and her entourage of other moms labeled us as the poorest family at the kindergarten. They've been talking about us behind our backs, and I'm sure it's been spreading to other parents, too.
I see.
I could have tolerated being the target of their behavior if it was just me, but recently they've even started telling other kids, "Don't play with Maggie, she's from a poor family." I overheard some of the other parents telling their children not to associate with her. I'm heartbroken for her, and it's really affecting her self-esteem. She's only 5, and she shouldn't be dealing with this kind of exclusion.
Has the kindergarten done anything to intervene?
Because Pearl's family has such influence, no matter how much I complain, they won't take any action. The kindergarten's director and the staff are all so eager to please Pearl's family, and no matter what I say or do, they won't step in. I've tried to address it with them, but they keep telling me to resolve it privately or just wait for things to settle down. They keep brushing it off. It's clear to me that they're trying to avoid getting on Pearl's bad side. They don't want to lose the funding or donations that her family provides.
I see.
I feel terrible for making Maggie go through this, but I'm planning to have her take a break from kindergarten for a while starting tomorrow. It breaks my heart to pull her out of school, but I think it's the best option for her right now. I don't want her to be exposed to any more of this negativity.
I need to check something, though. Isn't the company Pearl's father runs called D Corp?
Yes, it's D Corp. Are you, by any chance, involved with their business in some way?
Ah, I am. But does Pearl not know that I'm your father?
Well, that's right. Since I'm married now and my surname is different, and I met Paul after I got married, if she knew who I was, she definitely wouldn't have treated me that way. She's the type to respect power and authority, after all. She only values people who can offer her something in return. If she had known I was connected to you, she would have probably acted very differently. Can't help but feel like she's trying to manipulate everyone to get what she wants.
I see. Understood. Perhaps it's time to deal with that family.
Wait, father?
I didn't mean it like that. I've been thinking about some things related to D Corp. There's an investigation that's been ongoing for some time. I've been part of some discussions regarding a few issues that have been brewing behind the scenes. If it comes to light, Pearl's family will be brought down by it. I'm not saying I'm going to take action directly, but there are people involved who are looking into it. Things will come to a head soon, and once they do, I believe Pearl's family won't be in the position of power they once were. That's just the way things work sometimes.
I appreciate that you're concerned about me and Maggie, but you have a position in society, and I don't want you to do anything reckless. Please, just be careful. I don't want you to get caught up in something dangerous or too complicated.
Don't worry about me. Thank you for looking out for me. But I really need to be more careful with my choice of words. I'll make sure to think things through before I act.
Maggie, it seems like she's taking a break from the kindergarten. I wonder if she's finally starting to understand the reality of the situation. If she has, then it's high time you both left the school and disappeared. Just looking at the two of you, mother and daughter, fills me with disgust. Poor Pearl. What? Leah! Why didn't you tell me? I just found out that the president of the company, which accounts for 70% of D Corp's sales, is your relative. I only found out recently myself. No, that's not the real surprise. Your father is actually my father's senior from high school and college. And on top of that, he's an active state legislator. Is this really something that needs to be talked about? Huh? It's not like I've been hiding it. If anyone asked, I would tell them. But then why have you been pretending to be poor? I'm not pretending to be anything. It's true that my husband is working overseas and we're living in an old apartment as a temporary place until our new home is built. As for my clothes, I just prefer affordable options. It's my personal taste. I have explained this all to you, but you and your friends have decided to label me and my daughter as a poor single mother family. That's not even the issue anymore. Please, can you connect me to your father? How much do I need to pay to make this entire situation go away? This entire situation? The competitive bidding issue, of course. Ah, so you're talking about the government-related bid rigging that D Corp was involved in, right? I've heard from my father's associates that they're investigating it. Bid rigging, where contracts were awarded unfairly to certain companies, right? And the company involved is D Corp. I don't really understand the details, but I know that there's a law called the Anti-Bid Rigging Law. I don't care about all that legal mumbo-jumbo. If this becomes public, my father and husband will be arrested. Just tell me how much your father wants to make this disappear. So you're suggesting bribing a state legislator to cover it all up? Don't put it that way. I just want you to keep quiet about it. Well, that's something I can't do. Why not? Because my father absolutely despises that kind of thing, and accepting money to cover up a crime would mean ruining his entire career. There's no way I would put him in that kind of situation. Well then, our kids are going to the same elementary school starting this spring, right? I'll make sure they get along, and we can even be friendly like the other rich families. Oh, but my daughter is going to the S University-affiliated elementary school in the neighboring city. What? We're actually building our new house near that school, so my involvement with your kindergarten group will end when she graduates. Well, actually, I wonder, will your child be transferring out soon? What am I supposed to do now? This is ruining my whole wealthy lifestyle. By the way, didn't you watch the news? What? Your father and husband's names are already being reported. No way! I can't handle any more of this. Just wait! I'm leaving now. Wait! I just looked outside and there are reporters everywhere. Please, at least help me out this once.
Leah, good morning.
Good morning, Father.
Are you on your way to the airport now?
Yes. Maggie and Billy insisted on greeting you at the airport. Since my husband is finally returning after finishing his overseas work assignment, they're both really eager to see him.
I see. It's good that everything has been resolved by the time you meet him.
That's true. Of course, I've already explained the situation to him. I think he was quite worried, but it's a relief that things are calming down. As far as the kindergarten situation goes, things are finally peaceful, which is such a relief. Pearl's group of mothers has quieted down considerably, and it seems like the kids are getting along better now.
That's good to hear. Well, leave all the political matters to me. You just focus on being a mother and wife and do your best for the family.
Yes, thank you, Father. At last, things around me are calming down, and I can finally take a deep breath and feel a bit of relief. It's been a long time coming, but after so many weeks of tension and uncertainty, the situation is beginning to settle. I was honestly starting to wonder if we would ever get to this point, but here we are. The worst seems to be behind us, at least for now. Since then, a lot has happened, and the changes have been significant. It seems that D Corporation, which has been at the center of much turmoil, has undergone some drastic management changes. The entire leadership team has been replaced, and they're currently in the process of overhauling the company's structure. It's a difficult but necessary step, especially considering the problems they'd been facing. There's still a lot of uncertainty surrounding the company's future, but they are making an effort to restructure, hoping to improve the situation and create a more stable environment going forward. It's not going to be an easy road, but they're trying. On a personal note, Pearl has had her own dramatic upheaval. Her life has completely changed since everything started. Her husband, as well as her father, found themselves in serious trouble, so much so that they both became involved with the police. It's hard to imagine how things got so bad, but it seems that they crossed a line that they couldn't come back from. Both men had to deal with the legal consequences of their actions, and it wasn't long before Pearl had no choice but to divorce her husband. It must have been a difficult and emotional decision for her, but in light of everything that had happened, I suppose she had no other option. Divorce is never easy, especially when there are so many other issues to contend with, but for Pearl, it was the only way out. To add to her troubles, it appears that Pearl's parents also went through their own divorce. The breakdown of their marriage added even more complexity to an already chaotic situation. Pearl must have felt like her entire world was falling apart, with family and relationships fracturing around her. Divorce alone is a painful enough experience, but when it involves multiple family members, it becomes even more complicated. She had to deal with the fallout from both her husband and her parents all at once. How overwhelming that must have been, to have everything you once thought was stable suddenly crumble beneath your feet. In the aftermath, Pearl tried to move forward, hoping to start fresh. She packed up and took her mother and child with her as they fled the turmoil of their previous life. They relocated to another area, hoping that a change of scenery would bring a sense of peace and a chance at a new beginning. It was a bold move, one that required courage and strength, but at first it seemed to be working. They found a new place to live, and for a time, things seemed to be improving. Pearl was starting over, and that gave her a sense of hope. However, things quickly became more complicated than they seemed. Pearl couldn't shake the life she had once lived. She had been used to luxury, to the comforts and indulgences that came with her former lifestyle, and it wasn't long before she began trying to recreate that lifestyle despite the fact that she could no longer afford it. She started spending money she didn't have, going back into debt and even borrowing money to keep up the appearances of the life she once led. The pressure of maintaining that image became overwhelming for her. She couldn't let go of the past, and it drove her to make reckless financial decisions, all in the hopes of holding on to something that was no longer realistic. Her mother, who had been supporting her during these difficult times, started to become deeply concerned about the effect this behavior was having on Pearl's child. The financial instability, the reckless spending, the constant strain, it was clear that this was not a healthy environment for anyone, and certainly not for a child. Pearl's mother saw the damage it was causing and tried to step in, hoping to guide her daughter back onto a more reasonable path. But Pearl refused to listen. She couldn't let go of the dream of the life she had lost, and as a result, she kept making poor choices. After that, Pearl's life seemed to spiral even further out of control. The debt continued to pile up, and she couldn't stop herself from making one bad decision after another. It was at this point she needed to reach out to her old friends, sending out a desperate message to everyone asking for help. She needed someone to save her from the mess she had created, but unfortunately, it seemed like no one was willing to offer that help. She sent out a mass message to her former friends, hoping that someone would step in and support her, but after that message, she completely disappeared. There's been no contact since, and no one knows where she is now. It's like she just vanished. It's a tragic story, one that makes you wonder where things went wrong for her. Pearl was once someone with so much potential, so many opportunities, but somewhere along the way, she lost her way. The pressures of her past, her inability to let go of the life she once had, and her refusal to face the reality of her situation all led her down a path of self-destruction. Now she's gone, and we're left to wonder if she'll ever be able to put the pieces of her life back together. The debt, the broken relationships, the fractured family, can she ever recover from all of that? Or has it all become too much to bear? It's a reminder of how fragile everything can be. Life can change in an instant, and sometimes the choices we make can have consequences we never imagined. Pearl's story is one of loss, not just of material things, but of relationships, of security, and of her own sense of self. And now she's gone without a trace, leaving only the memories of what she was and what she could have been. It's heartbreaking, really, and I can't help but wonder if she'll ever find a way to make peace with herself. Perhaps, in some way, she will, or perhaps she's already too far gone. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.